What is up, everybody? It's your boy Deuces. I am back. Thank you, guys. Have a happy Thanksgiving, guys, and have a very safe one, guys. If you're with your family, drive safe out there because you never know actually who's going to be out there on the roads and what they're going to be doing in their vehicles. So pay attention. Just be safe with your families, guys, and even at home. Eat a lot of turkey, guys. But anyways, with that all out of the way, guys, Harsh Reality is back with another one about KIELY Rodney. And this one actually makes more sense than the last one, guys. So pay attention all the way through this video. He makes some key points, so I'm actually going to react to it, but I'm going to actually put my opinions in this video. And then afterwards, we'll stop and we'll talk about it a little bit, guys. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the video.
The KIELY Rodney case and all of these people around it. I've been listening to a live this morning on another channel, and there was a person who's doing the rounds. Let's just say they're doing the rounds. They know a few of the parents, and I just get more and more frustrated when I listen to people, because on one hand they're saying they don't know stuff, on the other hand they're saying they do know stuff. So it's this fucked up word salad where you're left very frustrated, because in my eyes all I can see is there's a young girl where something has happened. And let me put this straight. This is what I think happened. I think that there was a party. Now, this party was not as big as what they tried to make out. And they've done this on purpose. They've done it because with numbers becomes anonymity. As soon as you say that there was only 40 people, well, not being funny, but you could pretty much name all of them then. And something happened. But when you start saying there's 200, 300, 400, you don't know who was there. And when you drop in the comments like, there were some older people there, some people from all over, before you know it.
And that makes everybody ask the question, guys. So if there was older people there, why was there older people there? It goes on to say that people had actually called in and said there was drugs there, and that's what the older people were. KIELY Rodney didn't even have drugs in her system. She barely had THC in her system. KIELY Rodney was not tested for all drugs neither, and the autopsy was not completely finished. Her body was cremated shortly after that, which they still should have some DNA of hers in case something would come up. That's the reason why the case is still wide open. So we have a KIELY Rodney case still open. Nobody's closed it, so what are they waiting for? My other video, we talked about AWP finding KIELY Rodney. The cops cleared that reservoir and told AWP not to search that reservoir, but they went ahead and did it anyways, and they ended up finding KIELY Rodney in her car. So they say they did. But then they go on to speculations of 2 cars being pulled out, and if you look at the videos, they do look different. So we have an open case. KIELY Rodney supposedly ran off in the reservoir, but her car stopped at least 4 times in the fire cam footage. But all of a sudden, there's fire cam footage. If that's the case, where's the pictures of this party? And that's what Harsh Reality is talking about. If we have a party of 200 to 300 people, teenagers, we're gonna have photos. We've only seen like 3 or 4 of these photos. So where's the rest of them? Like I said in my other video as well, beautiful, luscious Hispanic party was supposed to be right next door. So was they questioned? What did they see? What did they hear? There was only like 7 to 8 vehicles leaving this party when the fire cam footage actually caught KIELY Rodney's car. Supposedly KIELY Rodney's car stopped 4 times on the way to the water. What, they have to sit there and think about what they were going to do? Because that's what it seems like to me. It seems very fishy, and it seems like a cover-up. It seems like stories was put together. People went along with it, and it's worked. But they didn't close the case. What it seems like a setup. So if that's the case, what was the other car that was actually pulled out of the reservoir? Why did the cops call that reservoir clear whenever they searched it with divers and didn't find anything? Was the car there at the time that the cops actually searched that reservoir? Or was that car in the water the day that AWP found Kylie Rodney's car and supposedly Kylie Rodney inside of her vehicle. Because the cops done called that clear. So was the car planted there afterwards? Because if not, then people need to be asking, FBI needs to be asking Truckee Police Department how they missed the car that they supposedly called the place clear. And if it was not for AWP, Kylie Rodney's car would have never been found, and neither would Kylie Rodney. With that being said, guys, let's jump right back into the video.
There you have it. You've got yourselves anonymity and people who could have done something and you don't know who they are. So that's why that narrative was always given. And we never saw any footage because that would have proven that to be a lie. So that's your explanation there. But this smaller bunch of people, they have a party together and Kylie ends up going into the reservoir. Now, whether she's driving, that's debatable. We don't know. But she ends up in the reservoir. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people who are around this area who are trying to insinuate there was other stuff going on. They're trying to say that the likelihood is she could have been kidnapped or whatever. And I'm not at that stage where I can accept that yet. I'm not saying it definitely didn't happen, but this story, what I'm now telling you, I believe makes the most sense. And that is that Kylie ended up in the water. Now, whether there was a bunch of them in that car, several of them, maybe the ones who had been going backwards and forwards to the car during the night, who knows? But we know Kylie was going to be designated driver. We know that. Sammy had said about this during the night. She'd also made a mistake during one of her interviews on Dodgy Tony's channel by saying that she was driving, and she wasn't driving in the same breath. But anyway, I digress.
So not only that, now we have lies going on. So it was said that Kylie Rodney's phone pinged right next to the water the last place. So if that was the case, before that, they said they was actually charging the phones in the vehicle. But if that was the case, then the fire cam footage shows something totally different. The fire cam footage shows this vehicle stopping 4 times on the road, and on top of that, they said there was a max exodus of 300 to 400 people. So Kylie Rodney was charging her phone in the car, so they said, but her phone pinged right next to the water was the last place. And that's kind of funny because where her phone pinged at is the same place where the fire cam footage showed this car going in the water and was the same place this car was actually found of Kylie Rodney, supposedly. So what was car number 1? Whose was that? AWP found Kylie Rodney's car with her tags on it. But the cops of Truckee dive team couldn't find her car before when they searched for how long? And they called that reservoir clear. They wasn't supposed to find the car. AWP was supposed to find the car. And look, if everyone doesn't understand this, I don't know what else to say to you. Just like Harsh said. There's foul play. That's the reason why Kylie Rodney's case is not closed. It's still open. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
So Kylie ends up in the water. Kids panic like fuck. And before you know it, you've got a situation where they can either potentially get in trouble because they've been doing whatever they're supposed to be doing. Some of them are older and they could be held accountable. So there's a decision made. Maybe some of them who was there were relatives of some important and, who knows? I'm not going to mention any names at this stage. You've all seen them floating about. But there is a decision made to cover this up. So they push an abduction narrative because it takes attention away from ground zero. That's what they want to do. She was taken away from there. And that's very, very plausible. So They then have to make it look like that's plausible. So what do? There's the car what Kylie drives. They get another one, very, very similar, and they get someone who looks very, very similar to Jagger, very, very similar to Kylie, and they call Nick out. Because I said this on the live. I was thinking to myself, hold on a second, right? I'm going to put him down. Hold on a second. Because I'm thinking to myself, right, so what we're supposed to be led to believe is, now these kids, something goes wrong, so they manage to get law enforcement involved. They manage to get their parents involved. There's money, there's this, that, and the other. But when the car don't start, they have to call AAA. And that, to me, that just seemed very, very bizarre. So I thought to myself...
And not to mention, guys, if your daughter didn't show up at home, wouldn't you send someone to go look for her? Wouldn't you go look for her yourself? I know me as a father, I would be there when my daughter did not show up at home when I told her to show up at home. Then I would have went and found her. No matter what I would have found at the time her doing, I would at least got her home safely. It's like nobody cared in this position. And am I saying her mom does not care about her and her family? I am not saying that, guys. Not one bit. What I am saying is people settling for it being an accident. For what reason? I have no idea. I mean, we could speculate all we want. We could say money. We can say because there was more people involved in it, that they don't want to have their name spilt out. That's the reason why there's no pictures. I mean, but this was all, if that was the case, guys, why is it still an open case? It goes to tell me that they are waiting for something to come along. They know down deep inside it was not an accident. That's the reason why Truckee Police Department has not closed this case. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
So why would they call AAA? Why would somebody call Nick? Now, Nick believes that he saw Kylie. But my mentality is, well, he couldn't have. He couldn't have because Kylie's in the water. But he believed that he did. The situation there was an odd one. I believe he turned around and said that they introduced themselves as Kylie. So why would they do that? Again, because they're trying to make out that Kylie is still alive at noon the next day. And the situation is odd. All cloak and dagger. Not Jagger, dagger. And there we have it. That's your story. And it all goes wrong because Adventures with Purpose find Kylie in the water not far from where her phone last pinged, the party last was, and all of a sudden it's pandemonium. Because now people are thinking, fuck, we've set a few wheels in motion and we're likely to get pulled over the coals for this now. The Nick situation, that interview with Adventures with Purpose, all of a sudden now becomes prevalent in everything. It now becomes what we're focusing on now. Well, hold on a second. How did he see her if she was in the water? And if you see one point, I spoke to law enforcement yesterday, a few hours ago, and they have said that this case, they haven't said it's ongoing. They have physically stated, made the statement that this case is still being investigated. Now, some people said, and quite rightly so, law enforcement can keep cases open to avoid questions. My argument to that is they didn't say it was open. They said it was being investigated. They said that. I've got it in writing. Now, if there's nothing nefarious about this whatsoever, then why isn't it closed already? Why isn't it a done deal? Is someone in...
Because they know that it was not an accident. See, it's so much easier to say, hey, it's an accident. And then everybody forgets about it, goes on about their lives. Pictures are spilt out. People talked. People tells on themselves. People may say who actually what happened to her. And then boom. They got the person they need. Isn't it so much easier to say that it was an accident and then everybody just be calm about everything? Hey, I got away with it. That's what it is. You see it happening all the time. You see it in Shinquilla Robinson, the girl who actually lost her life in Mexico. Leilani Simon went on for how long as a prime suspect of Quentin Simon, which is a 20-month-old they found in the trash landfill. She went on for how long in her home doing what she wanted, and finally they arrested her and charged her with the murder of her kid. It happens all the time. See, they led Leilani to believe that she was practically scot free until they knocked on her door to arrest her. And that's what they're doing with the Kylie Rodney case. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back to the video.
Law enforcement actually one of the good guys or gals, and they want justice for Kylie, and are they looking to try and get it? But someone, Nick, I called him out. Did he come to the chat? Did he say anything? And he doesn't have to, but people have got to do more. People have got to do more. You know, if I was in Nick's shoes and I was thinking to myself, look, a 16-year-old girl, I could one day have a daughter myself of 16 years old, and this could happen. What would I want and expect everybody to do? If I was that father of that daughter, what would I want the guy to do who thought that he saw her after I was led to believe she'd gone into the reservoir? What would I want? Don't ask that of the universe that you are not willing to give yourself.
And guys, there you go. There's another Harsh Reality reaction, guys. Harsh Reality is one of my favorite channels, along with 10 to Life was another one of my favorite true crime channels, guys. Kylie Rodney case is not closed, guys. They're not closing it for a reason, because everybody got comfortable, and who knows, they may actually have a lead. And it will happen, guys, because it was not an accident. But first and foremost, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe, channel. It's highly appreciated, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving. I love you guys. Be safe. Your boy Deuces. I'm out. Thank you.